Hello and welcome everyone. This is ACC303 Contemporary Issues in Accounting. We are Group 1 here with a brief presentation report on one of the renowned airline companies in Australia, QANTAS. This presentation centers around brief introduction of the company, management and governance of QANTAS, corporate social responsibilities of the company, impacts of COVID-19 in the operation of the company, and their recovery plans post-COVID-19 pandemic. Let's start off with a brief introduction of QANTAS itself. Registered originally as the Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Services Limited, QANTAS is widely regarded as the world's leading long-distance airline and one of the strongest airline brands in Australia. They have built a reputation for excellence in safety, operational reliability, engineering and maintenance, and customer service. The QANTAS Group's main business is the transportation of customers using two complementary airline brands, QANTAS and Jetstar. Their airline brands operate regional, domestic, and international services. The group's broad portfolio of subsidiary businesses ranges from QANTAS Freight Enterprises to QANTAS Frequent Flyer. Management and governance of QANTAS. The group's business integrity and compliance function, reporting to the General Counsel and Group Executive Office of the CEO, ensures that the group is best positioned to respond to both the rapidly evolving regulatory environment and shifting societal expectations regarding corporate ethics. Their business integrity compliance program is overseen by the QANTAS board through the QANTAS Audit Committee. Some of the key initiatives taken by QANTAS to fulfill their corporate social responsibilities are as follows: managing climate risk, reducing emissions, carbon offsetting, sustainable aviation fuel, reducing waste, and protecting against pollution. As like any other companies prioritizing sustainability of the environment, QANTAS too places a key importance in their corporate social responsibilities. As they carry Australians to their destinations, they are conscious of working to minimize the impact they have on the environment. While the COVID-19 crisis has compelled QANTAS to restructure many parts of the business, they are still committed to continuing to lead the way on sustainable aviation through emissions and waste reduction initiatives. Sticking with these key initiatives, QANTAS has also come up with goals to fulfill in the near future, which are as follows: capping their net emissions at 2019 levels and reaching net zero emissions by 2050. Committing 50 million over the next 10 years towards the development of a viable sustainable aviation fuel industry in Australia. Committing to reducing net emissions by 25% against the 2019 baseline by 2030. Increasing the percentage of sustainable aviation fuel in their fuel mix to 10% by 2030. Committing to an average of 1.5% per year fuel efficiency improvements to 2030. Committing to zero single-use plastics by 2027. On top of everything, the participation of QANTAS in carbon offset and reduction scheme for international aviation is one of the key achievements for the company to fulfill its CSR. Let's have a slight understanding of this scheme.
At QANTAS, we have a commitment to sustainability and we're working to reduce our environmental footprint. Climate change is one of the most important issues facing the global community. We want to play our part in global efforts to reduce emissions. We continue to improve our fuel efficiency and we're working to commercialise and adopt sustainable aviation fuels. By 2050, we aim to have reduced our emissions by 50% compared with 2005 levels. Regulatory carbon pricing schemes give airlines an added incentive to reduce emissions over the long term. However, if you as a passenger want to fly carbon neutral today, the best way is to voluntarily carbon offset your flights. With our Fly Carbon Neutral program, you can easily offset your share of unavoidable flight emissions for less than you'd think when you book your flights via our website or at qantas.com/environment. We pass on all funds and do not profit from this initiative. We carefully choose our carbon offset projects, and we were the first airline to have our entire carbon offset program certified with the Australian Government's National Carbon Offset Standard, Carbon Neutral Initiative.
QANTAS Group has always had a strong enforcement of labour and human rights in their group. However, the year 2020 had a devastating turning point for the company. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a significant and widespread impact on society, and the QANTAS Group is concerned that this has intensified pressure on global supply chains and increased the vulnerability of workers in those supply chains. The devastating impact of COVID-19 on their business meant that they had to take a range of measures in response. They were forced to right-size and restructure their organization with more than 9,000 redundancies of employees. During fiscal year 2021, the majority of their people were either stood down or working reduced hours. Throughout this time, they have maintained ongoing communication with their people, provided access to various support channels, engaged with over 300 organizations to find temporary secondary work for thousands of their people.
It was the toughest decision I think I have ever had to make because what we've seen is a real collapse of international bookings, and with the government's travel bans, nobody's travelling from Australia out or into Australia now. We also seen a big collapse in domestic. So unfortunately we don't have work for 2/3 of our staff, 20,000 people. We broke it to them. I sent a note, which was one of the hardest notes I've ever had to write. We had communications from all of our managers directly to them. We did a webinar with all of the staff.
Let's talk about the performance of QANTAS against their recovery plan. In June 2020, the QANTAS Group announced a 3-year recovery plan in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This plan will create a stronger platform for future profitability and growth, and deliver long-term shareholder value. The key areas of focus for the plan are cost savings, deleveraging the balance sheet, sustainable cash flow, fleet management, customer advocacy and brand, and QANTAS loyalty. Hence, concluding our presentation with the years-long history of flying in global sky with genuine ethics and resilience, this is QANTAS Airlines, the spirit of Australia.